What's poppin' with the squad? How y'all doing? How y'all living? It's your boy Amari. We are back with another album review, and this time around, I'm giving y'all my thoughts on Adele's 30 album. Let's get into it. In this river and first, I kind of just want to say that I think this is the first Adele project that I've listened to all the way through, without skips, without shuffling, just all the way through, just to wrap my head around. All of her other projects, I've shuffled through all of her other projects. There's always been one or two or three songs that I just haven't really been a fan of, and so I've skipped over. But with this album, I tried my hardest to listen to the story she was trying to tell, considering this was a quote-unquote breakup album. And so with that, here are my thoughts and how I feel about it. I think that Adele delivers once again with her 30 album. This is the newest installment in her age series, her number series, following, 20, 21, 25. But this one being different in that it's not only giving us her life experiences, it's not only giving us a peek into her as a mother, it's not only giving us a peek into her as somebody who was heartbroken, but as somebody who was growing up and going through stages of life. And I felt like this album really did a good job of showing how Adele has matured throughout her career. That being said, of course, as with any breakup album, there's going to be a lead up, there's going to be a story, there's going to be the lead out. And honestly, I think that the most engrossing part of this album happens to be the story itself. I'm talking about the few tracks where Adele vents her frustrations, where Adele seems to actually tell you where it went wrong and why they had to go their separate ways. The songs where Adele is actually telling you where her anger is coming from and where and when and how and why they fell out of love. And I think those are the parts of the album that hit the hardest, to be honest. The lead single off the album, Easy on Me, a beautiful piece of work. I personally fell in love with the song as soon as I heard it. I still think that is my favorite song off of the project, and it was just amazingly done. That being said, there are a few more songs among those storytelling avenues that I do feel do really well, such as Woman Like Me, such as Love Is a Game, or Hold On. To be honest, I find the second half of her album really does seem to be the more storytelling half. While the first half sets it up, we get a few sound bites. Like I said, we get a peek into her as a mother. But once she really lets her heart out, I feel like this album kind of goes to a new level. That being said, if I were grading this off of the emotionality, I don't think that's a word. If I was grading this off of the emotions themselves alone that were evoked, that were put into the music, I would give this a 9 over 10. But that being said, it's a breakup album. And I think I said this with Casey Musgraves, I said this with Olivia Rodrigo, and I'll continue to say this until somebody hands me a breakup album that transcends their individual breakup. I feel like breakup albums in general are going to be very one note, and they're going to hit and then they're not going to hit. But once you hit that depressed stage again, once you hit that I'm in my feels again, once you hit that I can't do this anymore again, then that's when the album is going to resurface itself. And for me, a great piece of music isn't one that waits for specific situations, that waits for a certain scenario in order to shine again. It is one that can shine regardless of what the situation is, regardless of what the scenario is. That being said, I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy the album for what it was, but I'd also be lying if I said I didn't kind of want more after listening to it. I'd be lying if I said that this album didn't leave me wanting to hear more of a story from Adele, if it didn't leave me wanting to hear more of Adele's maturation into who she is right now. The production itself was pretty minimal. There was no really big production. I think the majority of it leaned on Adele's spectacular ability to evoke emotion with her voice, as well as also portray and paint a picture with her words. I think those two things together, filled out with a little bit of ambient production, makes for a pretty well-rounded track in the case of Adele. I don't think it works for everybody, but there are certain artists where they themselves, their storytelling, their voices, that is the instrument. That is an additive to the production for the song or the album, and I think that was the case here. All in all, I think that after listening to this album, I don't think I was bored per se, but I think it left me on a perch waiting what's next, wondering and waiting for what's next. And because of that, I can't really give this a 9 or a 10 like I would want to based off just the vocals alone or based off just the storytelling alone. I think once all of it comes together, you consider the album for what it is. I think that once you consider the context of the album, once you consider what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like in the future, I think that definitely knocks it down a few pegs. Does that make it any less ingestible? No. Does it make it any less enjoyable? No. But does it alter the reality of where that album sits in the grand scheme of music? I think it definitely does. Altogether, I think I'd end up giving this album a 7 or an 8 for it. Like I said, there was a lot to like about it, but there were also things that I feel people would dislike about it. I feel like this whole breakup album thing, it's kind of getting tired at this point. We've had a lot of big artists this year alone drop breakup albums, and I just think the topic itself, while a breakup never really gets old, I think that this whole I'm going to drop an album telling you guys about my relationship and how my relationship went wrong and where my relationship decided to split off, I think that whole idea is kind of getting tired. Like I said, Olivia Rodrigo, Casey Musgraves, Taylor Swift even redid some of her most popular songs on an album and re-released that. It's just all of these, I think, kind of dilute the meaning a breakup album has. And like I said, none of them, in my opinion, have really transcended that just a breakup album phase. And that leaves me with a lot to want. That's it for me. Those are my thoughts on Adele's 30 album. Would love to know how you guys feel, where you guys stand. What did you guys like about it? Like I said, for me, I think my personal favorite thing about it, which is the same thing I love about every Adele song or album I hear, is the fact that her voice is just so genuine. There's so much emotion in it, and it really, really makes you feel a certain way. The singers that on their voice alone make you feel a certain way have something special, and that's one of the things I love about Adele. So, like I said, I would love to know what you guys think, how you guys feel. What was your favorite, least favorite part of the album? What would you grade the album? Where does this album sit with you? Drop down to the comments. I will be reading those, and I will see y'all in the next album review. Thank you. I'm gone. Peace.